Hey there, it's me, Brittany, your friendly internet plant enthusiast. Today I'm going to share a list of the top places to get houseplants. People often ask me where I find my plants, so I thought it would be helpful to put together a short list of places that you can look to find really great houseplants. Some of these places might surprise you. Number 1, garage sales and online resellers. I have personally come across really great plant options on these online resale platforms like Craigslist. I have seen really great deals on some highly coveted plants on these sites. I was looking for a bird of paradise plant a couple of years ago and found a few on Craigslist that I didn't end up purchasing because the reality was I just wanted it, I didn't need it, and I honestly didn't have space for a 6-foot tall bird of paradise. But if I did, I would have bought it. You can also check out Facebook Marketplace or OfferUp or any other online reseller like that. You can find very great mature houseplants on these websites that are usually very reasonably priced. If the person doesn't include why they're looking to sell this plant, I would usually ask that type of question. While I have seen people post things like, relocating to a different state across country, or they have small children that are messing with the plants, or they have pets that mess with the plants. Sometimes these plants just no longer fit into people's lifestyles, but you want to make sure that it's like they're getting rid of the plant for a good reason and not because it's infested with some sort of a bug and they don't know how to get rid of it. So instead of just throwing the plant in the trash, they want to sell it to someone, because that exists as well, as unethical as it is. And of course, if you decide to purchase a plant from an online reseller, meet in a safe place. If you can avoid giving strangers on the internet your home address, take the plant to a parking lot, IKEA parking lot, and drop it off there or make the exchange there. I've even heard of people who live in larger apartment buildings. Once the payment goes through on a Venmo or a Cash App, they'll just set the plant in the lobby, and then the person can just come grab it and you're on your way. Garage sales can be hit or miss. You just never know what you're going to get. My mom has actually found really great plants at garage sales that were healthy and, thriving. I think she found a spider plant recently that is doing very well. So definitely check out local garage sales too to see if there are any houseplants being offered. Number 2, grocery stores. Now, for all of you Trader Joe's enthusiasts out there, I know y'all stop and look at those houseplants. If you're not a Trader Joe's shopper, you can still find houseplants at your local grocery store. And I'm not talking about a super Walmart where it's grocery store, clothes, garden center. I'm talking about just your regular run-of-the-mill supermarket that you would think would not have houseplants. I do personally spend quite a bit of time in Trader Joe's, so I tend to look at their plants. I will say, with Trader Joe's plants, you want to be careful about what you're bringing into your home. And granted, if you buy a plant from anywhere that is not a plant nursery, you just don't know what you're going to get. And I'm saying that as someone who has purchased a plant from Trader Joe's in particular that was infested with spider mites, and I didn't know it until I brought it home and saw it a few days later. If these are stores that you shop at on a regular basis, you may have a sense of when they do their restock. So you'll know on Tuesday mornings, if I want to go look at plants, I'll go to Trader Joe's and see what they have to offer. And you can actually find some really great plant varieties at really amazing prices, very inexpensive plants. And I have another video all about what you should be doing when you're introducing new plants into your home. So be sure to check that out. Number 3, hardware stores. Whatever your local hardware store is, they might have a plant center or a garden center. So be sure to look out for that. I know Home Depot and Lowe's are 2 stores that I frequent to find plants, not just indoor plants, but outdoor plants as well. And the variety for outdoor plants, I'll say, at these types of places are usually greater than what you will find for house plants. But they do tend to have house plants, so just be on the lookout for those. They're usually a fraction of the cost of which you would pay at a typical boutique plant shop, or even if it's of a specialty nursery that doesn't sell all of the rest of the hardware goods and it's just a plant center. The plants at Home Depot or Lowe's, the indoor plants, are typically going to be a little bit cheaper, but you get what you pay for. So just be mindful of that if you decide to purchase an indoor plant from a bigger box garden center hardware store. Just know that it might be wise to do a bit of maintenance on those plants before you're introducing them into your home so that they don't potentially infest your other plants. You just want to make sure you're cleaning them up and taking care of them because chances are they may not have been cared for properly. Number 4, boutique plant shops. Depending on where you live, especially if you live in a big city, chances are there's some sort of a boutique plant nursery near you. And I don't even want to call it a nursery because nurseries are typically where the plants are where the plants grow and are very well maintained by a knowledgeable plant staff. And this sounds super shady, but this is no shade to people who work at boutique plant centers. But it's a trendy thing, right? We see a lot of like plantstagrams, and we see a lot of people finding all of these really cute plant shops and going there and taking pictures and holding your iced latte in front of a Monstera Deliciosa and snap. Like, it's a whole thing. When people think about like plant parenthood, you think about the cute little plant shops, the very aesthetic plant shops. Those are decent places to get plants, right? They sell plants. I will say though that at the boutique plant nurseries, you're typically gonna have a higher price point for the tiniest of plant. You're paying for the experience, right? You're paying for the aesthetic of the store. You're paying for the experience of being able to take a selfie with all these pretty plants behind you. And I'm not saying that I have not purchased plants from boutique retailers, because I have. You can find a lot of great novelty items. You can find greeting cards usually, or other plant related decor. I know one of my local boutique nurseries actually commissions local pottery studios to make pottery. So that's cool. You know, if you want to support your local economy, then like absolutely go and shop at one of these places. But if you're starting out and collecting plants, the reality is the price point at the boutique plant retailers are going to be much higher. But maybe this is the place you go if you want to get someone a special occasion gift. But if you're just trying to grow your collection, this may not be the place to start. Number 5, greenhouses and plant nurseries. Now, greenhouses and plant nurseries are where I love to get my plants. Of all the places on this list, this is probably my favorite place to get plants. And the reason for that is there are typically people on staff who are very knowledgeable of these plants. These are people who know plants, okay? They know plants. They can tell you what pests these plants are susceptible to. They can tell you which fertilizer the plant needs. They can tell you how to grow the plant. They know their plants. These are typically plant experts. Maybe they've got some sort of horticultural background, or maybe they just, who cares? Like, they just know their plants. If I go to a plant nursery and there is somebody with orthopedic shoes on, a green vest, and a walkie-talkie, I'm talking to them. I want to know what they know. Help me find the best plant, because I trust that person on looks alone. Always judge a book by its cover when it comes to plant nurseries. Always. I will say that of the plants that I have owned, I have purchased plants from almost every place on this list, just about every place on this list. The plants that have been the most well-maintained and cared for and healthy when I bring them home and they actually grow have been plants from plant nurseries. I trust plants from nurseries simply for the health of the plant. Now, once I get it home, that's a totally different story. You could buy a plant from a nursery and then bring it home and the plant might not do well in your home, but that is because at a plant nursery, the plant has the ideal conditions. The lighting is perfect. The humidity is perfect. It's got constant airflow. It's being watered regularly. It's being treated regularly for pests. And so once you remove it from that habitat where it's getting all of these ideal conditions, and then you bring it into your house that's dimly lit, where all of your windows are covered most of the day, it's not gonna respond the same way as it did when it was in a greenhouse, you know? So that's an important thing to keep in mind. But if you really want a plant that's healthy, get yourself a plant from a plant nursery. I am a huge fan of plant nurseries. You usually find tons of varieties, you know, in addition to fertilizers or soils or other organic material that you would not typically find at just a big box hardware store or even a local boutique plant nursery. They're not going to have everything that a plant nursery would have. Number 6, farmers markets and garden societies. Now, I have purchased several plants from farmers markets. And actually this philodendron Birkin I purchased at a farmer's market, and it was a fraction of the price of what I have seen it sold for online or at boutique plant retailers. And it was in great shape. It's still clearly in great shape. And this is one of my best farmer's market finds. You can sometimes find rare plants. You can find a lot of succulents. And because the farmers typically have so many, and I don't know where they're getting them from. I don't know if they're growing these succulents, themselves, maybe not. They could have, a plant nursery that they're working with close to wherever their farm is. But I do know that they typically have really amazing prices for healthy plants, and they typically have multiple deals. So I think I have purchased house plants or like succulents for like maybe something like 4 for $10 or something like that, or some sort of a bundle deal like that, which is really great considering how much one plant can cost depending on where you buy it. And also, if you have an herb garden, you can definitely do an indoor herb garden. But if you have an herb garden, a farmer's market is a great place to get herbs. You can get a lot of amazing herbs at the farmer's market and get them for those bundle deals. Huge varieties, really inexpensive, and you're getting them from a local farmer as opposed to whatever vendor Home Depot or Lowe's might be using. So it's just really another way to support your local economy. If you have access to a farmer's market, check it out and see what type of plants you can find. Garden societies are also another great avenue to find plants. These are typically plant enthusiasts. Let's be honest, I'm on the track to be in somebody's garden society at some point in my life. And the reality is, the people who are in the garden society, they're typically at a minimum 55 years old. And they are the people who are probably working at the plant nurseries. Think about it. You know what I mean? Like, those are the people. Look at their shoes. They're the ones with the orthopedic shoes that, when they're at work, are wearing the green vest with the walkie-talkie. Tell me they're not. If your local municipality has a garden society, chances are they may do garden or plant sales every so often. There's a local plant society near me that partners with the botanical gardens, and they do this really big plant sale once a year. And at that plant sale, you will find every herb you never knew existed, because these people know their herbs. They will give you, I'm not gonna say they can give you, they will give you recipe cards, herb blend cards. These are like herbalists / plant enthusiasts. And I love buying plants from people like this, because not only are you supporting the local economy, you're also supporting whatever nonprofit they're tied to. They're usually tied to like some sort of entity. So it could be like Friends of the Botanical Garden or something, right? So these are people that they're serving a public good. I like contributing to them if I can. There may be a garden society near you or, in your municipality. Definitely check them out to see what their offerings are. They sometimes even host workshops for free. They're hosting workshops on cooking with herbs or planting specific types of vegetation. While at the farmer's market, I can typically find herbs and houseplants. With the garden society clubs, I usually only find outdoor plants or herbs. Number 7, online plant retailers. Now, if the pandemic taught us anything, it is that you can buy everything online, including houseplants. And the interesting thing is the online plant retailers typically attract different audiences. So if you're somebody that's really into the boutique plant shop, there are online boutique plant shops for you to shop from. So the Sill, for example, I would consider them, I've never been into their brick and mortar locations, but I know they have them in New York and in California. I would consider them to be a boutique plant retailer. they do have an online presence and you can purchase plants from them. I have purchased plants from them in the past. This plant right here, this is a philodendron, and it is in this really cool, I don't even know what to call this, pink planter. And the cool thing about those types of online plant retailers is that typically you can purchase the plant and the plant will come planted in whatever pot you want it to be in. So that's not something that you're gonna get if you're buying a plant from a greenhouse, for example, an online greenhouse retailer like a Hertz Garden. I think it's called Hertz Garden, but that is a greenhouse. I think they're based in California, but I have ordered from them before, and I have received plants that have been shipped from California and also from, I know they have a greenhouse in Ohio, I think. So I think it just depends on like what you order and where it is within their business. You know, like some plants are in the greenhouse in this location and some are in the greenhouse in the other location. But you're gonna have a different customer experience if you shop at a place like Hertz versus a place like the Sill. The Sill is gonna be, again, when we're talking about like the boutique plant retailer, maybe that's a place where you're gonna send somebody a gift. So your friend is across the country and you wanna give them a unique gift. They love plants. You wanna send them something from the Sill or from another plant boutique online retailer, because that place is gonna fancify the plant experience for them. They're gonna actually repot the plant into whatever planter you want it and then send it to them that way. Whereas with a place like Hertz, you can find very reasonably priced, sometimes rare plants, and they have tons of them. And the quality of the plants are usually impeccable. I have not received a plant from Hertz that has been in bad shape. A bunch of my first string of pearl plants that I got from Hertz, they were beautiful plants. They were full, and I ended up killing them because I didn't know how to take care of them. But I know how to now. I know how to take care of them now. Those are options if you don't have access to, you know, any of the things that I've said on this list, or if you just simply don't want to leave your house and you just want to grow your plant collection and find plants online. Check out those places. Check out Etsy. Etsy is another place where like plant enthusiasts like myself can sell clippings, or people who have access to real greenhouses can sell what they have to offer. You might have to play around with, you know, ordering things from a few different retailers until you find one that you really like. But once you find a seller you like on Etsy, you can just keep purchasing from that person. And the nice part is if it's a seller that knows that you're a frequent customer, sometimes they'll send you coupons or you'll be eligible for free shipping or things like that. Just like with anything, if you're bringing plants into your home, regardless of if you're bringing them from a store or if they're coming from online, you just want to make sure that you are doing your due diligence and making sure those are healthy plants once they arrive at your home. So check out my video on how to properly care for plants that have been shipped in from a mail order site to get a little bit more information about how to care for those plants. All right. That is the end of this video. Thank you for hanging out with me today, and I will catch you in the next one.